Have you heard of mesh integration, and are you wondering if this is going to work for you or if this is something for someone who has a lot of hair loss or has no hair? Due to popularity of this method, we have been getting a lot of questions, even though this method has been around for a very, very long time. But it seems like because of social media now, everybody hear about it and it is a trending topic. So I'm going to clarify some of this myth and tell you some of the pros and cons and what's possible with this method, so you can decide on your own if this is something you want to consider and search for. Number one, a lot of people think mesh integration is just for people who have a lot of hair loss. Honestly, that is not correct. You have to have some type of hair loss or some hair loss, because if you attach a topper or you attach an extension on something that is like very full, you are going to have some issues and problems with the care in washing and cleaning and all that good stuff. But the scale of hair loss, it's not as much of a determining factor if this method going to be working for you or not. It goes back a little bit to the detail of how big is the piece you're attaching, if it's a topper or if it's a weft, and for what part of the head. So leave that to a professional who's done this forever so they can help you address that part. But this method is not necessarily for people who have no hair or very little hair. It can be used for many different things. I have gotten some questions around people who have pixie haircuts and they try to grow it out and they think if they can go with this method. Personally, I don't recommend it. If you are in the process of growing out your hair, you want to get enough scalp stimulation and be able to wash and treat the hair. With the mesh integration, you end up covering a lot of the head area if your hair is already very short. But if you're just trying to cover up a certain area, make certain area thicker and more volume, that's not a problem. But if you're trying to do your whole head as like a mesh integration, it's like you're creating actually kind of like a wig base on your head and then you're attaching that to your head. So you don't want to do that if you have a very short and thick hair and you're just trying to go through the growth. The second thing I have gotten is people wondering if they look natural or is that gonna just look wiggy. It defeats the purpose if it doesn't look natural. Then you might as well just get a very unnatural, synthetic, ugly wig and put it on your head. Well, would you go through all of this thing if they don't look natural? The whole point of this method is to create a seamless integration, seamless look, natural, beautiful, just like your head. Goes back to the person who applies it, goes back to the type of the topper or type of the hair that you use, but leave that to a professional and someone who knows what they're doing with that method. Number three, if it is uncomfortable or if it's going to itch or if it's something that you're going to have trouble with. Going back to the base and what we are working with. Generally, it is done very seamlessly, very light. They're not uncomfortable and they're very natural. You're gonna have to still consider you have at this point, after you get the method done, you're going to have some extra hair on the head. So how well they are attached and much coverage they're giving you, it's going to determine if you're comfortable or uncomfortable, which if it's done by a professional, you shouldn't have any problem. Another part is they're asking if it damaged the existing hair. Goes back to the person who applies it and how you take care of it. If it's done properly, you have a minimum amount of stress on your existing hair. So it goes back to how well they're applied, how well they're taken care of, how well they're maintained, and all that good stuff. So if it's done properly, you shouldn't have any problem. And if you are actually growing the hair out from the certain damages or certain thing, it can be a protective style. So that shouldn't be a problem. Number five, if they are high maintenance. They can be, because it's higher maintenance than your natural hair. But in general, they shouldn't be high maintenance. They should be kind of like, it takes time to dry the hair just because you have more hair on. But a lot of times I say you need to be a little high maintenance to be low maintenance. Sometimes that helps not to wash the hair that much, style the hair that much. So you do it once and your hair is good for a few days. So you don't have to repeat that. So they are not supposed to be high maintenance. Number 6, that if they are obvious and are they easily detectable? No. If they're done properly, you shouldn't have a problem. Number 7, if they are having styling limitation and you can't put your hair up, or you can't style it, you can't curl it, you can't straighten it. Beautiful natural hair, beautiful natural toppers, they almost like have no limiting part for styling the hair. They actually should add and enhance, so they should not be a hindrance to the head. Number 8 is if they are a permanent solution for hair loss or hair thinning. It is a method that someone can adapt if they have very little hair or they're struggling with something, but necessarily you always want to consider the scalp condition, the hair condition, and it's something that you have to work with your specialist, your stylist, to be able to come to peace with, and making sure that it's not putting stress on your hair, and in the long run it's not causing you harm. But for temporary stage, for a couple of years, a year, 6 months, sometimes they are perfect. For many people who are suffering from trichotillomania, this method can be life-changing, because sometimes by covering the area and limiting access to their hands, to where they're touching the hair and manipulating the hair, they're able to kind of work on their habit. They actually can reverse that habit, but it is not fixed. It can help, but you need to consider all and everything else with them. Another myth that exists, if they are very expensive. I think when it comes to a matter of cost, you need to look at the value first, and you need to see what you can maintain, and it's subjective to each person. So definitely they are more expensive than if you just get a wig or a topper, because they require maintenance and maintenance visit to the salon. But that value of it for each person is different. So definitely consult with your stylist and whomever is doing this method for you. Good luck with that. If you have anything specific that you have question about, I would love to answer that for you. I have another video, which I'm going to link below, that goes into the different type of mesh and meshless integration and the pros and cons. This video is just kind of like a completing that video. If you find these videos helpful, just let me know. Until next time, ciao, and I hope you have a great and beautiful day.